Yeah, for sure.
Amazing.
Just want to state, man, that Jimmy made that. Jimmy made that music. Jimmy done that music.
Playing live.
Sorry,
All to the glory. Yeah, it was good fun.
Did you play the music, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Did you play it?
Yeah,
really well done, man. This is awesome. This is really good.
Yeah, I decided to cover it. I thought, I fancy doing that.
So
I kind of made it sound a bit like it as well. So
yeah, I'm streaming, dude. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. I'm streaming too.
Let's
chat you. It's Ryan.
Get to the show.
Ryan.
I'll come in last, man. I'm coming last.
It's a pro. God can.
Everybody got the blue watches.
How you doing, Shug? You good?
Game tag. Live later.
Found it
Right, who's gonna lead? Jimmy, do you wanna lead the way, man?
Oh, are you on the?
Okay,
we gotta run the gauntlet.
You might not go.
Everyone follow Jimmy.
Okay, so
I'm trying to start the stream.
She got it. Everybody okay?
Everyone
Follow the Scottish guy.
Let's
go, let's go.
Everyone follow the Scottish guy.
Come on, buddy.
Cheers for coming, Brian.
Just so you come with us. Pound it up, bud.
Little carriages. Little carriages.
You ready, guys?
You're gonna be left behind.
Yeah, he's starting out.
Alright, cool.
Everyone cool? Look at this.
Follow the leader.
First.
Yeah,
amazing how many people can not.
Amazing artwork. What the
So cool.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Massive shout out to all these guys over here creating all these rooms.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I spelled your name wrong. King.
Whisk me away, man.
To the
PSVR chat show.
Look at that.
Do you know what we get that intro again while I got time?
Do we have to go at the same time? He's doing it again.
Today,
Yeah.
we have Anna Ribeiro, project manager, lead developer.
Here we go. Jump into the next room.
Oh, we're in the next room. We're going to the next room, guys. The guys that make these rooms is awesome. Jameth, Livenator, Seraphim. Deep respect.
Everyone.
Oh my god.
This is the cutscene.
Wow.
The cutscene that flies over in the game.
Holy moly.
Let's make a level.
Oh, man.
It's so cool.
This is great.
Seraphim
So crazy.
with the level here. But yeah, a bit more interactive to walk into. The guys wire it up so we can. We just keep walking around.
The mosquitoes.
This is so cool.
The leaves.
They call it.
This is wild. Red Room gave particles, which is great, so that helps as well. But
can I jump in the well?
He made everything so arty. It's quite impressive, you know, all this work. And Master looks exactly like Master.
So cool. Woo!
Look at this. Anyone who's played Pixel,
Space is dropping.
fantastic.
That's so good.
Final Fantasy 1 characters.
We're in 2D, 3D. The
2D.
Damn right.
2D, 3D.
2D, 3D.
3D.
Seraphim's invented a new medium.
Man,
It's happened because of you guys.
you can see like they built
absolutely.
Epic.
Oh, man, how you doing?
Just,
I'm not going to chat too much stream.
And Jimeth did the bad guys up there.
Yo.
Everyone's streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's streaming.
That's the most
Look at
complex
this.
We've got Anna over here.
Should be coming.
Oh yeah, it's like a big.
She's
skill
developer
set.
of Pixel
yeah,
Rift.
Crazy.
Look at this.
I want a special thanks to Dorky and Velp.
Yes.
They were extremely big
Dorky
help.
and
They
Velp.
helped us make it an amazing world
great job,
here
guys.
instead of
He's
just
the
a jumping
king.
art piece like we're capable of doing.
Well
They're
done,
taking
Burger
us to
King,
the
man.
next level. Thank you
good
guys
job, man.
for
Good
what you're
job.
doing.
Thank you
Massive
so much.
props.
Really well
Awesome
done.
work.
VR God, how you doing,
Good job,
man?
guys.
Thank you.
Good to
Hey,
meet
good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Oh,
Worked hard on this
all
stuff,
right.
dude.
so much stuff.
We
Everyone
still-
done.
we still
Everyone
must
mucked in, and everyone.
Yes.
So
So good.
Turn on VR God.
savage.
Hey, what's up,
How's it
dude?
going?
Hey,
Brian.
I
good.
just realised, man. Where's
Sorry, I just sent you another
So
one.
who
That was
are you?
me,
I don't even
my
know who you are.
Thanks, man. All good.
Oh, well, I go by a few different names, but VR God and Rec Room. I usually
Look at this
play
guy.
as
Look at
Supertramp
this
on
guy.
YouTube.
Look. It's the wizardy bloke.
Okay, sure. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet
His
you.
official name.
Wizardy bloke.
It's a mysterious guy. It's called Master. He doesn't have a name.
Master, yeah. The master.
He doesn't have a name.
Did you not give him a name?
He's Master.
The master.
Well, now he's got a new name. The
Mysterious.
Wizard.
The Wizardy
We're
Bloke.
call him
That's it,
Wizardy
yeah.
bloke.
Yeah,
Wizardy bloke.
that's a
Wizardy
good name.
Bloke. All hail the Wizardy
BT, you
Bloke.
coined a name for a character.
Hey.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that though. I like the fact that that's...
One day we reveal his identity.
That's
Oh
it.
man, that'd be crazy.
Secrets already. Just
But
walk
for now, Wizardy bloke.
He's a ninja.
Big savior.
I'm eager for the next time you actually make
Man,
one.
look at this. Oh,
Oh.
Yeah, pretty phenomenal.
Right, where's Jimmy, man? Jimmy, what's next?
It's crazy walking.
The little dragons. We have the classroom, I believe.
Okay, cool.
Through
Yeah,
for
it's
the
cool.
film.
Check out.
And I'm asking Anna to take care of you.
This isn't how it's supposed to.
Deep breath.
Ooh, stop.
Sorry, Danish.
Let me get out. Let me go. That's all right. No worries. Whoa. Who does want to jump
No
in the
more
room?
gamer tag. Haven't said hello.
Really? I have 3D.
I think Anna's loving this.
Yeah.
We should be walking
I want to
through.
make
This is awesome.
Hey, preacher.
Wait,
Hey,
wait,
preacher.
wait,
What's going on, dude?
Don't punch me. Don't punch me.
Come on.
Shut up. More enemies. More enemies. Hey, wait. It's more enemies. It's more enemies. You want
Break it out, break it out. Break it out.
More enemies, man.
Now's not the time. Now's not the time.
Okay.
We'll put aside our differences.
We will. Just once.
Temporarily.
Just this once.
Temporarily.
Just once.
All right.
Let's keep the party going.
School.
Yeah, there we go.
Epic fist bump.
I think I already know you can see it.
Oh, hang on. What's this? What's this notification?
Do we have to go to
You're
this
getting
room
a
over
new
here?
invite.
A
Yeah,
new
he sent
invite?
out a new invite. Yeah.
This is so complicated.
You just gotta look at your.
Oh, Brian. It makes me laugh. He making me laugh.
That's crazy when I see this.
There's so many people, I can't move.
You can start.
Crazy.
Yay.
This is fantastic.
I've no idea.
Insane.
Oh, man.
All right. Anna's going to get her outfit on.
Yeah.
Niceness.
That's so cool.
Start.
Did you have anybody else that you needed to get in before we start?
So yeah, so the CEO, so Ricardo is the CEO of Arvoria. He wants to join too. I'm just trying to see if he's coming or not. If I have to add him as a friend.
Yeah, no worries. Well, we can wait.
How do I teleport to a seat again? I can't remember how to do that.
I don't
Do you know how
think
to
they
add friends?
made it inactive,
man,
so you
she's
can't
just
do
as
that.
How do you do that? Okay,
man.
just move
You
over.
can choose
Yeah, you
your
just gotta like move on.
Yeah,
out.
thanks so much.
Cool.
That's what I wanted. Awesome. Yes. Now we have something to play with while the teacher talks.
Mess him his username.
Yes, we are.
Oh, look, the bad guy's at the window there. Look, to your left.
Got the preacher
The bad
player,
guy.
we got
Sitting
Brian
down.
from the
I'm sitting
VR
down.
grid.
To your left, Brian. Look, bad guy.
I'm playing game.
Over there. There's a big bad guy.
Classroom food.
Yeah,
What's
there's
going on,
a gamer
Turkey?
tag.
Turkey, I'm Ryan from
What do you call him again?
VR.
Here, man.
Send him. We can do it. Take it back.
That's a tracking down for you.
He's installing. Yeah, he's coming, but he's installing right now in the game. So we can start and then he join afterwards. If that's.
That's so cool.
I can give
What the
I
fuck
can
was
give you to you.
Sorry, I swore. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Jason, can I message you their tag, their usernames, and then when I'm
Here
here,
in a second.
Yeah.
I mean they can join
Yo,
afterwards,
Danish.
and then you can. Cause
That have already been submitted.
I'm gonna send you on Steam. I mean on Discord. Sorry.
And then
It's
we'll
behind you.
Yeah, we'll pay back here.
And I'll get them in. I'll add them on here. And
Oh,
then
all the
we'll
way
have a
there?
friend request waiting
It
for
went
me.
over there.
So how do I mute all of you?
Here,
We'll
you
come
can,
back in
you
a
can,
second.
you can have this. You can have this.
Cool.
Here we go. Oh, wow. I've got two now.
It's all feeling that they're dead.
That was yours.
What?
That was yours.
I'm ready to
learn.
learn. You've ended up with the cheap edition. The cheap edition
what, yeah?
of the game, kid. You play Evasion Online yet?
Not online yet. No.
portable one.
Just
Let's go, man.
I played like 3 hours.
I got a creepy stalker taking photos of me right here.
I like
It's,
it.
no pictures! No pictures!
We're streaming, aren't we?
It's a magic We definitely will, right? For sure. When are you going to beat the room? Or when are you going to beat the door?
So good, man. What was that?
You got to beat the door soon, man.
Amazing.
We got to talk about the ending of the door.
I know. I
Making this.
was gonna do it today, and then I ended up playing Astrobot and Catch and Release. Have you seen that?
No, Ryan, you need to do an entire playthrough of Door so that I can watch it and then beat
It's
it.
amazing, dude.
I'm
I
not
don't
doing
want-
it so much.
I do not want to struggle.
I will tell you how to beat the door. I did it.
You got it figured.
I did it all on my own. It was really
playtime on that.
You gonna help?
Did you use the
about
handle?
like 5 hours if you blast through it, but like
Awesome.
one of the puzzles took me like a solid hour on its
Pick your
own.
angry.
Do you like that? I made that.
Excellent stuff.
Was that like
Brian, where's
first goal,
Dave
wasn't
Station
it?
at? Is he coming?
Space Invaders.
Dave's not coming. He said he won't be
he's
able
not
to
coming.
Or make us
Yeah.
slightly cheaper
Yeah,
edition
he's
for some
not
kids
here,
who
man.
can't afford the other
I want one of these knockoff gear kits.
console. Because I remember being at
Mine.
Oh,
I'll sell you
I'm
it.
really impressed with how many
I'll sell you mine.
YouTubers there are right now in one room.
That's cool.
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sick, dude. It's so cool.
Salsa, here's Salsa.
Let me know
So
when
I
you're ready,
think we
Anna.
should. Yeah, I'm ready. I just I've sent that. So yeah, Ricardo is like installing Rec Room now, so it's gonna. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but he can join us. He can join us
How's it
afterwards.
going, man?
Oh, hey, how you doing, Jimmy?
Yeah, right.
Salsa?
Take a seat or you can stand.
Salsa.
What's up, Kevin?
You know, see down the back there, there's a book. Is the book any good? Is the book any good? Can I distract teacher?
Oh yeah.
I can kind of go forwards.
Wherever you want me. Yeah. You,
Sorry, I've got a game.
Your new chair is
Kevin,
been
you're priority
reassigned.
sitting, sir. You get priority sitting. You're a royalty, man.
Let's play multiplayer, Salsa.
Wait, I don't want to move. I like my seat.
Okay.
Who's playing game? Okay, let's play, dude. Let's play.
I'm easily winning.
Did you just get pushed
No, you're not. You just think you are. No.
Were you that kid that sat at the back of
That's
the room?
alright. They sat me next
I always sit in the
I
back of the room. Actually,
Yeah, I
I
feel
don't
like-
think I'm just gonna steal everyone's seat, man.
I'm gonna grab a drink of
Where'd
water
my-
while this
I'm just gonna
chaos
keep
goes down. 2
Just gonna
seconds.
keep running around taking other people's
Brian.
seats.
You that kid.
That's alright. You all good?
No, I think I used to sleep in the back seat.
Pandemonium,
I'll
look.
go for that
Shug,
score.
God Cannon,
Are you the
G5,
one that also
Leo,
leaves?
God, Jason, Anna, Gamertag, Brian from Without Parole, Danish Gaming, Jimith, Seraphim,
Just to
Salsa
make sure I'm
Ketchup,
not talking on.
Ryan from the VR group behind us, and we've got Dorky as well. Holy shit, man.
Turn down the voice volume.
So many people with no life.
Can anyone hear?
What's up, man?
I'm talking over top of everyone.
Nice.
Can anyone hear?
So, you want to have a short, he starts.
So, first rule of the room, anyone who hates Afterbot,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now
Shit!
Supposed to talk on because I was sort of like
Nisha.
I just start my stream up and I
See
didn't
this?
wanna
This is what I think
go
of your
and stop
Astrobot.
the bots come in and ask questions and.
hope everyone saw that. The preacher plays. The preacher plays. Just so everyone saw that.
Let's not do this here.
We actually start or what? I've already got comments of people being like,
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sue.
Tweet, I felt so bad.
Yeah.
When you sent that tweet, I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it does. It does.
I know, I'm still waiting. 1 to 3 days, dude. 1 to 3 days.
subscribing by the second.
What kind of shit's that though? What's that with Amazon? Like, by the way, your game is delayed, but you've got till the October 29th to December the 1st. Like, what the hell kind of window is that?
sitting around doing nothing.
It's
well,
mental.
what to do, honestly, I swear down, right? Simplygames.co.uk.
Simply Games.
Honestly, they're amazing.
Alright, I'll
They're
have to
really
give
good.
them a try.
Get them. You get them in like five days in advance. I got Spider-Man like really early,
Really?
but I couldn't stream it.
Oh yeah. Case of embargoes.
So like, yeah. So they do a lot of games like that, and sometimes they have them cheaper to begin when the price goes up when they see they're selling. So it's one of them. But it's good company and it saves you on Amazon. But if you've got Amazon, I know why you've done it. But I don't know why they put December. That's nuts.
I know, December. It's like the game was out yesterday. What the hell? But we'll find out. I mean, everybody wants to find out whether I'm gonna shit on it or not. But
No, you'll just absorb it even more. That's all happens. Just imagine Croc, Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Crash Bandicoot all meshed into one game, and it's in front of you. That's it.
Out.
Mic drop. That's it, man.
We'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. It just looks like a kid's game.
Oh, yeah.
To me. But I'm a grumpy old kid, so that's why.
Like, everyone's so quiet now.
What?
You don't know what happened. It's like my time for talking went way down.
Oh, I thought it was a giant padlock for a second.
I don't even know how to do
Put it on my back.
Oh, okay. I see.
Everyone's just too close.
We're getting started.
Okay, we're getting started.
Seats in class.
We're starting.
Please, when you can.
Can I throw stuff at Preacher?
Here it is.
No.
Did.
Whoa.
Cool, man. Just want to say thank you for coming, everyone. Welcome to the PSVR chat show. Today we have got Anna Ribeiro from Pixel Ripped. She's going to be the teacher for today's lesson.
Oh my god. What a crazy lesson is gonna be this, huh? Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Anna.
Thank you guys for doing all this. This is incredible. I'm mind blowing. I didn't expect all this will work, and you guys created another Pixel Rift. It's a lot of work. I'm thankful. I'm really like impressed, and I feel like honored to be here.
Well, it's an amazing game.
Thank you so much.
It's well deserved of all this attention. You know,
phenomenal.
It's a great game.
So we're supposed to do a lesson here, like. I know everyone has everyone with your Game Boys in the desk, please.
I got it. I got mine ready.
I love this, man.
Come
I
back.
love this.
Yeah, can't forget a donut for the teacher here.
Oh,
He's a kiss us! Get out of here!
I'll give you five stars. 5 stars.
Excellent stuff. So Anna, you're an 80s kid, I believe.
Oh, nice.
I'm telling on you.
Who got paper aeroplanes, dude?
Nice catch, dude. That's crazy. Nice catch.
You know what's weird is that we're in Pixel Rift with the Pixel Rift character.
That's crazy.
So Anna, you ready?
Yes. What are we gonna do?
So
I'm ready. I'm ready.
It just snored you.
Memories.
Oh, cool, man. So Anna,
snored
you're an 80s baby, yeah?
Sorry. I'm what?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're from the 80s, yeah? So for me personally, those years in terms of gaming were pretty unforgettable. So what was your first console you ever owned?
Oh my god, yeah. So probably no. Who knows what is the Odyssey? Did anyone hear about this console?
Odyssey is, yeah.
Odyssey, Jim, if mate.
The Odyssey.
I know what that is. Yeah.
Oh my god. That was the first console. We had the Odyssey 2 actually, but the Odyssey 1 was the first video game home console. So our first console at home was the Odyssey 2, which is kind of like Atari era. And we also had a console that kind of at the same time. I don't know which one came first, but we had this console called Telejogo in Brazil, which was like a Pong, one of those Pong consoles.
I had that as well. That was my first console.
Did it have the twirly knobs on it? So like you got the ping pong, the squares. Is that the one?
Yeah, it's basically
that's the one. That's the one.
There was a lot of Pong consoles around the world, so that was one of it. It was called Telejogo in Brazil. Yeah, I'm from the 80s, so that's like long time ago. I died in 83, I born. So
what was your favourite console at that time? Because obviously when you play Pixel Ripped, there's a lot of retro games, obviously that influenced it. So what was your favourite console?
So in Brazil, well, we have this console called Phantom System. It was like the best console. It just was released in Brazil, and you could basically play Nintendo games, but you use a Sega Genesis controllers.
What the hell?
That was awesome.
Sick.
So I grew up telling everyone, oh my god, my favorite console is Phantom System. I didn't have any doubt. Like, this is my favorite console, the best games. And then later, when I grew up, I discovered actually I was playing Nintendo games, Sega games all together in one. And,
oh wow.
Okay.
Wicked.
So all that conflict that everyone had, the Nintendo, what is best, Sega and Nintendo, we just had Phantom System, like, winners right there. So. But this is because Nintendo came to Brazil, so this is before actually Nintendo wasn't there, so it wasn't like it wasn't illegal at the time for some reason. So this company actually
well, it might have been.
It is now.
This company released it. It was legit. You go in the stores and buy the console. It was a legit console. Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that is. Cool. So what's your favourite video game?
That's so hard.
Mega Man.
Okay.
I know it's hard. I'm going to ask scared. I've got to ask. Pixel
No.
Come on, Pixel Rip.
If I answer that, this is so lame. It's my game. No.
Alright, what's your favourite game from the 80s then? Your favourite 80s game from when you was younger?
The one that I feel the most nostalgic, I had the most nostalgic feeling when I played is Mega Man 2. I know. I've been playing the other Mega Mans. I think Mega Man 10 may be the best one in gameplay, but I really love Mega Man 2 because it brings me those memories, and it was the first good Mega Man I remember. And it's. But if I'm talking about like, okay, my favorite right now, first-person shooter game. I love like multiplayer games online, so I love Left 4 Dead still. I love playing Left 4 Dead with my friends too nowadays, and I was playing. On VR, I'm still playing a lot of Beat Saber.
We don't have that. Beat Saber. We're getting it soon.
This whole room's like.
But I have been playing a lot of old school games. Like I just bought a Nintendo Classic. I managed to find here in America last time. I was here. It was impossible.
Is that the NES Mini?
Yeah, the NES Classic. So I got that one. I got the Sega Genesis Classic too, and I have the Super Nintendo Classic too. So I have been playing. I just finished like Super Mario World, and I have been playing.
Anna, I've just realised.
Donkey Kong 2.
You call the Super Nintendo. Do you call it a SNES?
Do you call it Super Nintendo? Yeah. In Brazil, we call Super Nintendo.
Oh, God cannon!
They call it a SNES. I had to say NES, and I was like, I think that's only a YouTube.
I got excited.
At least it's not Super Famicom.
Super Famicom, yeah, man.
Yeah, the Japanese one.
So cool. I'm going to take you back a little bit, Anna. So your sort of story into becoming a game developer is quite interesting. So before Pixel Ripped, you were working for the government and you were involved in divorces. And then after that, you decided to start your own business selling pies.
What the fuck? I actually was still working in the Justice Council when I started selling the pies. It wasn't like a plan ahead. I think I was trying to escape because that was a lot of bureaucratic work. I was just basically in a desk typing documents, and you had these templates that you just fill in the gaps with the number of documents, the name of people, and it was so boring for me. Like I like creating things. So I would expend my time like changing the stickers on the box of the documents. That was when I used to have most fun doing it. It was horrible. The documents itself, you couldn't change the font, so it was Times New Roman at the time, and for me that was so frustrating. I can't change this. It needs to be Times New Roman. So yeah, I worked there for 5 years. It was nothing. I felt like I was a fish outside the water there. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I was listening to Mario music, and for people here, hey, where's my documents? I'm listening to Mario songs. People come to me, what are you doing here? I'm like, what? I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I just. But then I think you know in life sometimes you just follow like what is normal to everyone, and then one moment I'm so glad I realized that I was doing something that wasn't me, and so I got to that point when I was selling pies. So the pies, sorry, it's a long story. I'll try to keep it short, but I start to bring food to my.
It's cool.
We have time. I like to cooking, so I bring food to my friends at work, and I bring these pies. It's called empadas. It's a Brazilian. It's like a quiche, but it's close. I call pie, but it's not. It's actually called empadas. And they really like it, and they keep asking, bring it tomorrow, bring it again. So there was so many pies, I started selling pies there, and then the people in the corridor start to smell it. They're like, bring it for us too. And then the people in the next door like, bring it to us too, we want it. And when I realized I was selling like 5,000 pies a month, it was like, it was going out crazy.
That is crazy.
And
that's some good pies.
I started like basically administrating. You do pies too?
I remember
5,000 pies a month. That is insane.
There was a lot of pies. I had like in like 2 months I contracted like sellers, and I had people working with me making the pies, and I was administrating this. It's kind of a small business, and then people like.
What's up?
Did it
So
have a name? Did your business have a name?
so yeah, I was calling Empadas Quero Mais, which means I want more.
Brilliant name.
Pie.
You could never eat
Love it.
one pie,
More
and
pies.
you always want more pie. So I found this was the best name. And when I was I did this course to prepare to open the business to the like a restaurant, shop, a pie shop. And at this course, that's where I did the decision to make video games and leave everything behind.
What? Why?
Yes.
What happened?
So in this course, it was like a week short course for startups, and they asked questions. It was crazy. It was like a kind of like a therapy. And then he's like, think about 5 years from now, where you want your business to be, 10 years, 15 years. I was like, yeah, I want Empadas Quero Mais to be in the whole world. And then he said something really, really important that changed my life. I actually did a TED talk about this question.
Oh wow!
It was my TED talk I did now in Texas and San Antonio. So I just did this TED actually on the 15th. I hope I can share with you guys later. But he asked this question and he said, "Okay, now imagine that you don't have anything. You don't have business. You don't have any work, any past, you don't have any courses you've done, forget about your family, your friends, forget about everything. Imagine that you're born now, here, today, and you don't have anything, nothing, just born now. What would you like to be doing in 5 years, in 10 years? And then suddenly that question changed it so much because I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be
incredible.
here.
That's an incredible story.
That's Reality Check VR here. He just arrived. He's actually in the game. Yeah, I was trying to get him here.
Hey, Reality Check.
Welcome.
There he is.
Dude. Welcome.
How you doing?
He's got a beer over there. It looks like he's got a beer.
Well,
I'm giving
congratulations on your awesome game, guys.
How you doing, man? You
as
good?
well. Hey. Welcome.
So yeah, and then I realized that, oh my God, I don't wanna be making pies for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And Ricky's coming through. He just sent an invite. So that was really good because sometimes in life you need to just see things clear, and that was really important for me. And I realized, oh my God, I love playing video games, and I've been playing video games since I remember, kind of like. At home, I have 3 brothers, so I was really lucky as a woman to actually be able to play video games in the 80s. Because unfortunately, your parents didn't like games for girls. It wasn't the market. Like all the commercials were for boys. And Ricardo's here. He's the CEO of Ivory, the publisher of Pixel Ripped.
Hi guys. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I love your outfit.
they did all that. So they did all this.
Oh, it's so cool.
You need to see all of those. It's just the end.
Hey, Ricardo, I'm doing like a lesson, and I'm the teacher
I'm
now.
sorry.
So
I'm gonna go sit down. I got in trouble.
I have a lot of donuts.
How do I distract you?
This is the best.
I don't know.
The best students a teacher could have. Look at this, all the donuts I got.
We would have made you pies, but we couldn't.
Yeah.
Beer over there.
Man, what's up?
Yeah, that's.
Got a 6-pack right here. Holy cow! Shh! Don't tell anyone.
Wow, that's so nice. Beer for everyone. And
Nice.
Game Boy
Beer
for
for
everyone. It's the best. The best school.
I'm gonna have one. Yeah, man.
What's a beer? Beer.
Shaggy.
Yeah, beer here.
I want beer. How do I get a beer?
Good man. No. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the best school ever, right? We can now live the school days we never had when we were kids, right? Have beer, play games.
You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got beer on your table.
Everyone drink a beer. Everyone drink a beer and play games.
Go home, play games. It's all good.
Wow.
And you got to take control, though. You got to take control of them.
Give me.
Fuck you.
Give me.
Everyone, don't behave.
Olive branch. Olive branch.
I like the picture.
No.
Absolute class teacher.
Anna, that must have been like, to go from that business, yeah, to going to develop a video game, that must have been quite scary.
Yeah, actually, Scary was continuing that place. That was like scary. Continue working in the Justice Council for me.
Oh, right. You was
A
like,
nightmare. I love trying and learning new things and trying new things. So for me, leaving that job was actually really easy. After it wasn't scary. Scary was staying there. Actually.
So financially, did you save money ready for this venture?
So when I had the pie business, I had some money. I saved it. I had some savings to actually build the restaurant of the pies, and I decided,
Wow.
okay, I'm gonna move to making games. And I didn't have any knowledge at the time. I didn't have any. I didn't know how to make games. Just play it, right? So I had to start from zero. And I got this money. I sold my car, and I found a course I wanted to do in England, and I traveled to England. I did 1 year of games programming. It's called the SAE University, and then this course was basically you build your game engine in C++. It was really hardcore, and I'm glad that my first course was actually that way, because after when I learned Unity, I started learning Unity. I found it so easy and so good, and it's like when you learn how to drive a car. If you learn how to drive a hard one, you're gonna really appreciate when you get a car. That's more powerful.
One without power steering and one with power steering. So
yeah, Pixel Rip is my first game. It was actually the next course I did after this was the NFTS, which was 2 years, and that course was also in England. Was a master's degree, and then you have the last year just to do one game, and then when I did Pixel Rift, I don't know if you guys remember that. That was my student. That was my student project of that course. Like, this is 2014.
That was a student project. That's crazy. That's because that's a lot as well. Like, that was a lot.
Yeah.
And that was
so
3 years.
it was always going to be virtual reality. You was always going to go virtual reality.
Oh,
yeah,
Caleb.
that's the plan.
So why did you choose virtual reality? What was your first experience of virtual reality?
So actually, when I was studying at the NFTS, there was one other student. He was from the year before me, and he did a VR in the DK. This is DK one time, so he did this VR experience that was called the Sandman, and you would be in a boat. It was really chill. That was the first time I tried VR. And then I asked him, where did you get this? And I got one, like, the next day. I got an Oculus. It's 2013. And then I just wanted to make VR, work with VR since that day. I tried a lot during the course, but then my course coordinator, he was, it's a film school, so they're really traditional. So every project I'll go, I want to make in VR. No. There's no way to make storytelling in VR. And I'm like, come on.
Oh, wow.
But now they changed their minds. It's proven now that we can do storytelling really well with VR. But at the time, it was like crazy. How can you do a storytelling without controlling the cameras? But Pixel Rift, I managed to convince him, and I did Pixel Rift in VR.
So what games were your main inspiration for Pixel Rift?
Okay, so I played that. Did you guys ever play Going Home? It's like a indie game. It's So I had played that at the time. It's kind of a little bit retro. Yeah. It's kind of a little bit retro and taking photos.
Go Ricky. Go Ricky.
That's awesome.
And what I was saying, my favorite, my inspirations there. So Mega Man, of course, is one big one.
Mega Man,
Sonic, Mario too. There's a lot of Mario there. A lot of old school platform games. So I kind of
Ghosts
at
and
the
Goblins.
time Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah.
Like at the NFTS, I actually played again the whole game. We had the Mega Drive there, and I played with a friend, and we got some Goblin beers, and we finished like a weekend Ghosts and Goblins.
That game is hard.
It's so hard.
I
very
finished that
hard
game on Mega Drive. It was the best
never
game
did. That
ever.
game was
Wow.
It was so hard.
That game is something else.
Well done.
That is so
like
tough.
a year or something to get that good at Jesus.
I got a question, but was there any Final Fantasy influenced for Pixel Rip? Because some of the characters, like the Master, kind of reminded me of Final Fantasy 1 a little bit. Some of the characters.
Oh yeah, Golkan. Yeah, good point.
That is a little bit, but actually in the next games we're gonna go for more Final Fantasy reference. This one we focus more on the platform games.
Yeah, next games. That's all I heard.
We have. Exclusive.
Let's drink.
She drank too much beer, guys. She drank too much beer.
Not exclusive. There you go.
We can tell them, right?
Yeah, we can tell, but we're not gonna reveal. Yeah, we can't. We're gonna do an announcement when we actually can say which one's gonna be the next episode. But we can say that we have planned 4 episodes coming in.
Yeah. So who here got to the end of the game? Cool. Who here got to the very end of the game?
Heck yeah, all of us.
I did.
Do you remember you can choose the year that Dot goes next?
Yeah.
Hold on. What did everyone pick?
I think I chose 1995.
What did you guys pick?
I picked the newest looking one. Like, it looked like
I did the 90s.
Metroid looking Dot.
Yeah.
N64 type deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I went like the.
Yes.
I went 90s.
N64 deal.
So what did that do anything?
Sorry, Ricky, you were saying. Sorry.
No, it's just we can tell what you guys picked, so not individually, but we have stats of what's the biggest, what's the most chosen one. Yeah.
Secret.
What is the most chosen one?
Secret.
It is secret.
But that will be the next game. So.
Yes.
We found it would be cool to have you guys decide in the next game, and we wanted to put in the game like analytics so we can actually see the troll decisions, and it makes part of the story, because if you see Master is saying, I don't know where Cyber Lord went, and I need help, and you guys decide where he was, where you think he went, which era, right? But we have these 4 episodes that we're gonna definitely do. We can say that, and then we're gonna be referenced more of these other games. Of course, Pixel Rift's gonna be the same plot. You always looking for Dot to help Dot get the stone, fight against Cyber Lord. But the game will change, and you'll be in different eras of video games, and then also the 3D world that you are. So in this one, you're in a classroom in England, and controlling Nicola. But the next ones, you'll be in a different places, different years, and different characters that Dot goes in a quest to control these players' bodies. And so imagine 1978 to be in Atari era, and the 70s, and yeah, so it's gonna change.
I have a question, follow-up question for that. Will Dot get a partner? Like a co-op partner.
So yeah, we discussed about having new characters coming, appearing, and like having options. They maybe have like special powers for other characters. There's nothing decided yet, but we definitely want to do stuff like that. Different characters that will appear. Like in this one, we had Arturo. That's kind of a Super Ghost and Ghost one.
Yeah.
But we want to have these other characters, like we had the chicken, we have those other things happening, but it would be cool if you could control those characters, right? But it's not decided yet.
So many ideas, there's so many ideas for that game though.
So Pixel Rip was a Kickstarter, was it? Did you set up a Kickstarter for that, first of all? And how much of the game had you made before you met Avery here?
Ricardo, yeah. So actually the Kickstarter, this is a long time ago, and Kickstarter failed. But and we got the investment from accelerator in Silicon Valley called Boost VC. They invest in VR companies and startups. And this is 2015. So it was, I got this early stage, I got some investment. So I got this Kickstarter that failed, and I got this accelerator that I invested. And then for 2016, I was self-funding the project. So it's kind of money was gone, and I was self-funding the project. I had we have freelancers around the world, the team, and friends that have been helping me out when they had time. It was really hard to finish a big project without.
How much of the game was made at that point?
Kind of. When we met, we kind of had like probably. It feels like half of the game was done because the polish takes so long, right? The polish and the final stage of it was really long. So when I met Ricardo, actually, this was 2000. We met in first VR event.
2016. Yeah, 2016.
And Ricardo had
Yeah.
played the game in Oculus Share, so he knew the game. But we
Yeah.
never had met, and we met in this event. And then we keep in touch. And then Ricardo, in 2000 last year, it's not a long time ago, announced that we're opening Alvari. It's this amazing. It's like the focus in VR, immersive experience. You want to talk about that? Then we can talk a little bit about Alvari.
Yeah, sure. But,
tag it out.
But yeah, we decided to start this VR studio here in Brazil, which is a crazy adventure doing that here, you know. But we did it anyways, and we built a team, and we were doing some cool like VR experiences. And then I had already met Anna. She got in touch, and we started talking again. And at that time, she was living in the U.S., but she wanted to come back to Brazil, and we started talking, and we had a team. She needed to finish her project. Like you asked where the project was. Like the whole thing was there, but like there's so much polishing and so much. Like it wasn't still like ready to it wasn't ready to become a published game.
You'd obviously seen the game. You'd obviously seen the game and thought this is going to be big.
Like from the very first version, like from her student project, I really loved it, right? But when she pushed that student project on Oculus Share back in the day, like I had a DK2 and everything, and that in those times, like the things that were on Oculus Share weren't actually games, right? They're just a bunch of like weird tech demos, and then suddenly this thing was an actual game proposition, you know. So it was really interesting. But then when I played the game in 2016. It was only like the first level, right? That I had tried, and it was already super creative and super like interesting and everything. But when I saw that it had like other levels, and each level was almost a new game in terms of like what it brought to the table, right? It was so creative and so cool. Yeah, so we immediately said, yeah, let's do it together. Let's finish it. We have a team. Like we have the investment. We have the team. We can do the marketing, so that's how it went, right?
Yeah, it was the final push that I needed to finish this game, and it has been great. We're actually gonna make the next games together. Alvari is to invest, and we're gonna do it together. It's really exciting. Like it has been working really well. We kind of have the same love for VR, and it's
that's a good thing.
Actually, Ricardo, it's like a multitask CEO. He actually did the voice in the trailer. Do you want to do a little bit of the voice?
Oh God, why did you do that to me? Why did you do that to me? Now I get because I'm laughing. Let me drink a little beer before. Here's the story. Okay, so I edited the trailer, right? And because the trailer was really cool because like some friends from Anna's like university had shot that little kid. Have you guys seen the trailer with the little kid? Yeah. So some friends from her university had shot that scene with the little kid, but there was no trailer, right? There wasn't edited. It wasn't anything. So I edited it together, and I wrote some copy for what would be like the trailer. Like we wanted to make it cheesy, like a 1980s trailer. And then I recorded like placeholder voiceover because I said like, let me record my voice just to edit it, and then we'll find a suitable like voice actor or whatever like to do it. And then she wouldn't let me get rid of that voice at all.
So good, like,
and then originally I was doing the voice of the mom that appears in the beginning of the trailer as well. So like. So anyway, I did the mom, and it was like, outside, blah, blah, and that was horrible. So I said, okay, I'll keep my voice for the whole trailer except for the mom. So who did the mom was actually the same guy who does the teacher, who was Gareth, right?
He actually said we actually spoke to him about doing the voice for the trailer, and he's like, this voice actor you guys have is really good. You shouldn't take him out.
So it goes like, go outside your world and play now in an incredible new virtual world. I don't know. I said it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it as a side gig now, right?
Good side gig.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the trailers. That was so funny.
But yeah, it came out really cool. We did it in like this cheesy 1980s video game commercial style, and we went to the next game's the same thing, right?
That trailer is one of the best trailers I've seen in a long time.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, I really
thanks. It's a really challenging game to it's a really challenging game to explain, right? Even if you ask me what is Pixel right now, like it's very hard to put it in one sentence. Like it's a very hard game to explain. So the trailer was really challenging to do in a way that people even understand what the game was. So we just went for like, let's make it crazy and people will love it. And,
there is a lot of people from the community in the game. We want to make this game like part of really good. Actually, so we have a Reality Check VR is actually in the game. He did this tips and trips. There's like a video that passed on the television. So if you shoot the TV on level 3, you can actually see him. You can see PSVR Frank. And we're now doing even a competition that anyone from the community can send a video, and the best video actually is still going on now. And if you guys want to send it, the video is going to be on that television, the best one. And we have like a DJ Catman, which is like a YouTuber. He's like a DJ that does remix from old school games, and I used to just listen to his music, and I contact the guy, can we put you in the game? So his voice is on the radio. We have all these people that we like to participate and.
That is awesome.
The music was really good.
The theme just.
Thanks.
The music insane. Like it's good.
Yeah. The music was composed. The music was composed by Terrence Dunn. Is actually I met him at the NFTS still at the university, and he's still working and gonna be working with us next games. And it's.
Really clever melody.
There's a lot of love put in this project. It's been long time. It's been 4 years, so. Long time.
So today you made an announcement that Pixel Rip 1989 is going to launch in the EU, Australia, and New Zealand.
Yes. Finally! Oh my God!
For PlayStation. Awesome. Yes. I mean, it was already there for Oculus and Steam, but not for PlayStation. So now it's coming out for PlayStation on all those territories. And
thank you very much.
Cool.
Yeah. Can you guys go into detail about why it took so long? I know that a lot of our European viewers have been, a little bit concerned about the delay getting there, but it seems to be something that a lot of developers have to deal with. Did you have to go through a lot of hoops? Is there something with the PEGI rating? Is it expensive? Like, what's the deal?
We had to do a separate QA process. So we released it on Sony is like separate. It's not like when you do an Oculus release or Steam release is all worldwide. But we did like a QA for just releasing on Americas, and then for Europe is a separate QA process, and it took 2 months. Unfortunately, like we tried what we could, but we're a small team, and it's like it's a really bureaucratic process, and every time you do change, you book a slot, it takes like 2 weeks.
It's very challenging. It's very challenging for a team to even launch on PlayStation. There's a lot of the QA process is very, very involved, right? Especially for VR, it's extra stuff, right, for VR. And we had to.
The Q&A process comes up every time.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that they do that because eventually you'll get better games and everything, right? But it's very challenging for a small team, and we made the decision early on that we would launch on all VR platforms at the same time. So we launched on PlayStation, on Steam, on Oculus, on everything at the same time. And then when we noticed that the European process was an even separate one from that, there was no way we could do that as well at the same time. So we did that. We started doing that as soon as we could, but it still took a couple months to be able to finish.
So imagine like we had the game ready like 3 months. 3 months before we launched it. It could be released on Oculus and Steam, and we delayed 3 months just for Sony, and it was just Americas. And imagine if it was a global Sony release, we would be delaying for 5 months the game, and it's really sad. The only thing we could do, it was up on our hands that we could actually do was this competition. So we built a special competition just for Europe, because all these contests we did before, they couldn't participate it, and I know it's frustrating for them. So we did this contest that the player that gets the most pixels on level 1 and then shares with us is gonna be actually in a cover of a magazine. And this is gonna be just Europe, because we actually put inside the game the contest. So when you go in the classroom, there's the flyer of the contest in Nicola's desk, as the competition was actually going on inside her world. So it's quite cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so it took a long time. It's sad. We did the best we could, but we are the ones that went the most, right, to release this game. And people are like, "Oh, why it took so long?" We wanted to release it. They couldn't.
It's fine. It's done now. It's fine.
Hands are tied.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna be
also,
out on the 16 now. We're actually gonna be in the VR awards. It's like it's going on now in England. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
We are
Game of the
competing-
Year.
What is that?
Shortlisted
Game of
for
the Year, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I will be there with my
I think somebody has a question over there.
I didn't know if this is how we were doing it or not.
He's raising his hand.
Oh, wicked.
Good Dave. You're fine.
Awesome.
So you were saying the separate QA process. Like, it sounds like maybe the game was much already done at that point when you had to reintroduce the QA. Did you find stuff that you ended up reintroducing back into the base game from that QA? Like, how different was the process?
Actually, it's kind of like we send the game is released in America, we say, here, the game is good, right? It's working. But then
It's
when
approved,
you
yeah.
get the QA there, if the person that gets your game and it thinks there's something you have to improve it doesn't, it's like another QA process. So we had things like FPS.
I'm wondering, like, was it just frustrating, or did they give you any good ideas that you ended up using? You know,
Oh, it's not the QA is not qualitative. It's not really qualitative QA. They don't say, change. This is a bad gameplay section. They don't do that. It's more like your frame rate here is going below X. It's more of a performance thing than it's to fit all the like necessities of the device and everything. It's not. They don't say like, oh, you change this level because it's this jump over here is too hard. They don't do that, right?
I gotta say something, because I was there watching them painfully watch you guys ask for the game, and they were like trying to get it to you guys, and they were desperate. And I was in Brazil, and it was so sad seeing them, want the game to get to everybody. But here's what happened. It's Sony. Sony is the one that did it, and this is what happens exactly. They said, here's their awesome game. Dave, you play it. What's wrong with it? And then Dave says, this is what's wrong, and we fix it. And they're like, cool. And the next time they're like, gamertag, you play it. What's wrong with the game? And then every time they're like, and then now you play it. They never give it back to Dave. They just keep changing it around. So it's opinion-based. And these guys tried so hard. It was so hard to watch it and see. Okay, anyways, they
They have a very very specific process on that. Like one person's given something, they just have to go, yeah, as a focus. Sony has like a kind of thing, you get one job handed to you, and you just do that. And you don't.
It's like in big corporations, you have like siloed things, so like once one division doesn't talk to the other, you know how it is, right? So it's just a big process, and it's very hard to like. So and for us now, it's the issue is like we have two separate branches of the game, so like we have to go through QA for updates separately. We have to go through, so it's like very complicated, because we did a day one patch on the US on the Americas version, and then we said, can we already send you the version with the patch? No, we had to do like the whole QA process for both the patch and the game again, so it's a little bit complicated, but I mean, it worked out. It worked out in the end.
If you compare, so imagine like when you had that change bug. So remember that bug you found? Someone found the bug. Hey, is it gonna be fixed? On Oculus, we can go there, do the change, and then update it and get it the same day, like again in the store. Just do an update. It's in the store. Steam is quick too, but then Sony is gonna take a few more weeks because we have to book a slot. We have to do then you have to wait for passing and everything. It is a bureaucratic. It's a big corporate company, and then like for example, sorry.
No, go. Sorry.
So, for example, one of the bugs we had the last time now in Europe was like the FPS was falling. If you watch, the meme in the classroom, if you watch the whole television trailers at the end, the logo explodes. At that moment, the FPS will fall for a few seconds. But like, would you rather have game now or wait for 2 months? It's like, it's one of this is the thing. Like, and then you fix that, you send it, but then they may come with other problems that they didn't say before, and then you send it again. You know.
There was a game recently come out called Trickster, and basically the multiplayer was cut. And when I spoke to the developer, he said it's because every 2 minutes it dropped 2 frames. So you had to cut 8 months,
Well,
8
why
months of
can't you
work.
just take a creature
It's gone.
or something to make up for that?
Yeah.
That's not to say it won't come in the future, but you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's pretty harsh.
It's difficult, especially for VR. They're really, you can't lose frames, right? It's very, very strict, and like even in our loading screens, we had a frame dip in it was all white, and they would still there's a frame drop here in the fully white loading screen, right? But then that one eventually waved.
How does Winkin get through this process? How does Winkin get through this process?
Crazy.
So
Do you guys
actually,
feel
this
like
is
overall. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
I was just going to say, do you feel like their stringent process, like it has to be exactly perfect? Do you think in the long run that's going to help them or hurt them, like in the VR market? Because if everything is much more of a hassle for developers, but PC VR gets to be a lot easier, it's like, does Sony keep that market share if everything runs as
I guess that depends how much money they make as well, or how much money you can make.
They are the biggest platform right now, and I think the extra
future, I guess.
The extra care helps with the curation. So, I'm sure eventually what gets to their platform is something that went through this whole process. So, you at least you have a quality guarantee of quality and everything. I mean, there are benefits to it, but it is not friendly for a very small developer, for sure. It's not. But I mean, eventually you'll get through the process and make it work. So I think there are pros and cons, but. There's pros and cons to both ways to do it,
I've got
I'm sure the next time we do it, it's gonna be easier.
Yeah, there was a learning curve from us as well, in terms of. Yeah. We learned the whole it's very, very, very involved. So we learned the whole process as we did it. So there was a learning curve too. I'm sure the next time is gonna be much better. So
I've got some viewer questions for you both. And if you want to ask questions, anyone, all you got to do is on the announcement videos, use the hashtag questions. First one is from Met Club. Are there any updates planned for Pixel Ripped 1989?
So we have a Halloween special planned. Actually working on this right now.
What? Mind blowing. Halloween special. God, Kenan loves a bit of Halloween.
That's so good. I've just got my card in time to play it as well. Yay.
So actually I'm working on this right now. We are now working on it. Actually Unity is still open here on my computer, but it's gonna be just Easter egg. It's a Easter egg free little level that you guys can play, and it's just a funny joke with the classroom. There's all kind of a nightmare of Nicole. But yeah, it's coming on Halloween, and we're gonna be on discount on Halloween for Oculus, and when it comes, we're gonna be posting when we have more details. But yeah, that's the only thing I can say for now.
Awesome.
It's gonna be it's gonna be entirely free content that we're just giving people because we love them.
Super.
Very
nice.
Awesome.
Thank you.
When Pixel launch in the EU, it will have a pre-order discount, I believe. Is it going to come up a few days before, or is it,
Yeah, it will be 20% discount for 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, not pre-order. We did pre-order on since we weren't able to do pre-order on EU, we're just going to have 2 weeks after launch. It's going to be a 20% discount. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, the next question from Geox is, do you have a next VR project?
Pixel Rips, and that is the Arvory. So we have the next Pixel Rips coming, 4 episodes planned, but Arvory also has we have a bunch of other projects working there. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can't talk specifically about all any of them right now, but we got the sequel of Pixel Ripped, which we're starting as soon as this whole. As soon as we finish this whole part of Anna's in the US right now. Yeah.
I'm in a hotel room now in Santa Clara. Waiting
so as soon as we already started the project in terms of the initial creation of the of the concepts and everything, but
storyboard.
But we're gonna actually start for real once she comes back. and then and this one won't take 4 years. This is something, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. No.
This one, this is for the PSVR 3, right? No. And then this one.
So you're saying don't do it. For PSR 3 there already?
Yeah.
No, but this one won't take 4 years. No. This one won't take 4 years, and but we also at Harvard we have some cool projects in the pipeline. We'll be able to talk more about them soon, but we have a bunch of cool things in the works. Yeah.
So Piffy Yummies, he wants to know if Pixel Rift is coming out in Australia, which it is.
Yay!
Our models, the game is now. Yeah, just announced today. Yeah, the game is also being released in the EU from ARM models. Polish Paul, will there be different time periods added to your game? The Pixel Rip, which is the 4 chapters you're talking about.
The 4 chapters at the end. These are the 4 next episodes that we're gonna be doing, and so you're gonna have Atari era in the 70s. We're gonna be having like arcades, and we're gonna have like Nintendo and the fight against Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. That era that was great, and
Nintendo
1999. The first 3D games in 1999, so we're gonna, of course, reference different games and different eras, but Pixel Rip is still gonna be the same. It's still gonna be Dot, fighting to get the Pixel Stone and Cyber Lord, but we're gonna be referencing all these different eras and years of video games.
Dreamcast outfit.
The next question is from our Danish. Where's Danish? Do you remember your question, Dave?
No.
No,
I do.
My answer is yes.
Why did you choose the specific handheld? I think it's the Game Kid, isn't it? In your, what? That's What is it? The Gear Kid? The Gear
Kid.
Get with the program.
What is it? I throw it out. So that era, 1989, was the year of the Game Boy. So we want to reference that. Here you go. But also we want to have a console that had its own identity, and it's kind of a mix with the Game Boy, the Game Gear. But
the Game Gear was.
But if that console existed at the time, it would be a winner. Just like the graphics are really good.
The game is too good. The game is too good for an 8-bit game like those games, but still. And definitely I don't remember like them becoming 3-dimensional on my school table, but
yeah, cool. And the last question is from Jason, the producer of the show. What was your inspiration in making the game? Was it childhood memories or just loving gaming?
Wow, it was a mix of both. I started with this dream I had. I was really struggling to decide what was going to be my final project, and I couldn't come with ideas. I was going to work on this carnival game, Brazilian carnival game, and my course coordinator was like pushing me, no, you should write it at least 5 different ideas. And then I had this dream that I was playing a game, and it was quite crazy. Like I was playing a game on the TV, and every time the game involving graphics, the whole living room was like changing, pixelating, and then there was until the graphics were like realistic and everything was merged together. So I woke up and I was telling everyone about this dream, and everyone, all my colleagues were like, this is a great idea. And I was I want to make a game about the history of video games and that feeling of playing a game and following the game changing. When you remember when you're a kid and you play like, I want to see how Mario's going to look now. I want to see how, these characters that the old games that you kind of follow and they see them evolving and change. So it started from that. And then, of course, I had some things that made me change a lot. Like we had a lot of bugs that changed the game, like the boss battle moment when the characters are all out of the console. This was actually a bug. I wasn't planning to be in the game. The 2D character, I forgot to tell the camera, don't draw that character outside the TV. And I was playing the game on the TV, and then dots stopped jumping around like this 2D sprite, huge, and that really changed the game. It was a whole process of development, but
so Pixel Rift come from a dream. That is amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Dream come true. Dream come true.
Literally dream come true. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Did you have any feedback on the final boss? A lot of people have complained about how difficult it is, and that took just as long to beat the final boss as the entire game.
We actually did some.
What's your feedback been?
We actually did some improvement on the, like, we made it a little bit, we polished a little bit, balanced the gameplay there. It was a little bit, a big pick, like, of difficulty in the end. Like, ideally, next game, we actually spoke about making you can choose a normal, easy or hardcore mode, and then we're gonna have, like, levels of the whole game's gonna be hard or easy, you know.
That's not a bad idea, but you've got to reward the people who get through that. Because that last level, man, I wanted to give up. I'll be honest with you.
That's because you suck, GT.
You remember back in the day, like, games were hard back in the day, right?
Exactly.
This is something. It's something funny because while we do get a lot of feedback about it, some people actually like that it's super hard. But I think there's a balance in the middle. You know. Also, we realized some people didn't notice that you could like use the spitball to destroy the fire circles in the last boss. And that I don't know even how.
Just for reference, I haven't actually finished it because I needed. No. I haven't got the power on my graphics card because I'm on PC side, not on the PSVR side. So I wanted to stream the whole game, but I couldn't because I was getting frame rate issues while streaming. So I haven't finished it yet. So I've got a new graphics card, and we'll be finishing this off.
Maybe that's Sony's problem, dude. Maybe they're using your PC to Q&A the games.
That's possibly it. You wasn't supposed to say about this. It's supposed to be a secret, dude. It's supposed to be a secret.
About the difficulty, you guys think is a good idea. Have the next game we choose like hard, easy, or normal? Like,
More options are always better.
It won't be hard, easy, normal. It will be easy, normal, and old school, right?
I like that. Old school.
You should do it in years. You should go 80s, 90s.
Good idea.
The harder it is.
I have been playing a lot of
Battletoads.
I was telling like Donkey Kong and all this. I've been playing with the Super Nintendo Classic a lot, and I like it. You can spend like days in one level and dying and coming back in again. I don't remember any game nowadays that I actually have that feeling of.
I will say the Donkey Kong still keeps it really
tropical freeze.
New Donkey Kong is still really difficult.
As much as that last level was really hard, you got that feeling of accomplishment at the end of it.
And it's the end of the game, right? It's the final boss. I really like boss battles, and I made it. I'm really excited about this boss battle, and I think we maybe got too excited when we realized the boss battle was like rounds inside rounds, and the last round had like 3 rounds, and I think it was also because I didn't want to finish the game. Maybe I was just trying to make the game longer. But it became this huge boss battle. Boss battles should be epic, right? And should be long with. Of course,
it was epic.
Hell yeah!
It was
think we should
4
give
transitions of one boss. I think
we should give our options for everyone.
Where is he?
Go for it, Chuck.
Well, just to jump in on there, Dark Souls would be the exception to that rule for modern gaming. Being hard, having boss fights and all that stuff. But anyways,
Super Meat Boy too.
There you go.
Super Meat Boy.
Anna, Ricky, my question for you is, and this is for me actually, from the developer's perspective, and you talked about 5-year goals, 5-year plans. Where do you see VR in the next 5 years and say 10 years?
Wow.
You want to take that?
5 years, 10 years, 15. Do you want to talk to?
We can do 5. We can just do 5.
I see, especially now with the Quest, I got really excited about it because still nowadays, like, we have so many set up to play a game. Like yesterday, we tried to play a game, Reality Check VR, and oh my god, I was like, why? I just want to put a headset and play it, and there's always these steps that something goes wrong and all this stuff. And I believe in 5 years at least we will have like actually be able to get like with the Quest is gonna be opening a big market. So the market is stabilizing now. It's getting there, but I think in 5 years we will be having like maybe Apple will announce something to there. I hope probably like the next few years, less than 5 years. But I hope in the 5 years that probably VR is gonna be at least something more common to people. Like nowadays, it's still walking. People don't know what it is. Mainstream, easy to pick it up and just put in head.
Yeah. Like obviously we are fully committed to it, right? We have a company that does VR exclusively, so and we got investments and like we believe in it. But I love a phrase that I heard from I was at Oculus Connect last week, and Michael Abrash, the scientist at Oculus, he I don't know if you guys watched the keynote, but he showed a sentence by Steve Jobs at the end of his presentation. Yeah, and basically he said when Steve Jobs saw the first, like at Xerox PARC, like the first computer that they had developed, that they didn't know what to do with it, with like a mouse and a graphical interface, like basically everything that we use for like so many years after. And Steve Jobs said you could argue like when it was gonna happen and who would make it, but you couldn't argue it was inevitable, like, and that's what I feel about VR. Like it's gonna happen. I mean, maybe we all feel, so that's what I feel. I feel like it's closer than that, and I feel like all these hurdles are already being overcome, so I feel like it's closer than we even think. Technology moves very fast and it's growing. So I mean, look at this, guys. We're in a virtual classroom talking, and I'm in Brazil. She's in California. Like what the hell? Man?
We're in a virtual reality talk show talking about virtual reality.
I don't believe in virtual reality. That wouldn't work, right? If I said that now. I mean,
I've got a lot of people asking about the Oculus Quest. How do you feel about the Oculus Quest?
Wow, we played the arena there and Dead and Buried. That was really impressed. I was really impressed with the tracking. I forgot I was in VR. I actually felt like I was playing like a paintball. I was actually putting my hands in the box, like you had all those big boxes that they had there. And they didn't have any sensors. They said they didn't do any previous setup there, just these white tapes, and it was incredible.
I think it's a game.
The best moment was when you have your team in the other side, and you have so you can still see the world now. That's a big game change for me. Like you can see the outside world all the time. So imagine like you're drinking a beer, and if you are like, it happens with me many times. I'm drinking a beer and I throw the beer in the computer. And I burn myself with tea, and this is not gonna happen anymore because now you have the camera, and you cannot press and hold A, and you can actually access that camera, and you can see everyone outside, and then you come back. It's kind of like a take on me effect, like black and white, weird, but really useful.
It was so cool, like because it has a
push the technology.
And it has like it has sound, but like the headphone is open, like kind of like the Oculus Go, right? And for the arena game, that was really useful because I was on Anna's team, and I would like go up to next to her and say, "Oh, let's go over there," blah blah, and we could hear each other and see each other's avatars.
High five.
And real high fives,
so cool.
But I think it's a complete game changer, man. I mean, sure, it's not the same graphics as an Oculus Rift or anything, but the tracking is incredible. I couldn't even tell like the blind spot for the controllers. It was incredible.
The point is, if they do it, everyone's gonna play catch up. It's gonna push things forward for every platform.
And I thought they got such a good price as well. $399 for the whole thing is.
We actually want to say that we want to be a launch title for Quest. We're actually now talking to Oculus about it, and because of all the optimization we done for Sony, at least this is gonna be good because all this optimization we would have to do anyway for the Quest, and we kind of halfway through. So this is gonna help us out to be a launch title in the Quest. So we are trying to right now to see that happening. So. Exciting.
Got a question. Just because I did from the PC side, you have that other mode in there, so you press F10, so it's like a streamer's mode. how did that take? I mean, that was a different approach because every time you lifted the console up, you had different presentation layers going on. The other one is, did you look at something like Live as well for streamers so that you could have another camera in Pixel Ripped, so we could actually have the streamer in the middle and the extra overlay?
Yeah, we're actually really friends with the people at Live, and we actually talked about this. We just didn't have time to implement it yet, but it's something that we might do, like do the mixed reality thing. Yeah, but the OVR manager.
That camera. We had
talked about this.
Yeah, we have to do He's been asking this one. We actually, that camera we had it in that F10 and F11 that make you a better field of view. We did that for the trailer because we need to record the trailer, and then when we recorded, the images were like too close and you couldn't see the game. So Zed, we have this wizard. He's like a Carmack guy. He works in Harvard with us, and he built this. He had programmed these cameras, and then with an 80, and then was asking like, could you have like a better field of view? Because, and then some streamers like found really useful. We sent to them this. Let's just use what we done. Like we done for the trailer, but it's really useful to record any videos. So we just share with the community.
Same for me. Yeah. I had to. I read that and was sort of like, oh yeah, okay, we do the F10. And I didn't realise actually that also it's really weird. You guys, only the PSVR side, you can have the same thing. But whenever you pulled your game, I keep on calling it Game Boy, but whenever you pulled the game up, there was a screen in the separate side that would actually display as well. So whenever you pick the game out of view and you can't see it, your audience can't see it, and that was like really, really awesome. I love that.
Yeah, this is because we have a game that we already programmed that we know when the player is looking to the Game Boy or not, so we just use that to check, and then we activate this camera straight from the game camera because we have that camera in the game, in the other game. So the other game has a camera, and we just
the interesting and the interesting thing is the picture-in-picture idea, like this little picture-in-picture. It came when we were discussing having a mixed reality, because we said if we put mixed reality and we like show the person from the outside, how are the viewers gonna see like the game, right? And because the game is in the game. But we still didn't implement the mixed reality, but the picture-in-picture is there. But mixed reality would look very strange, because I don't know if any of you guys like, I don't know if any of you guys like walked around. Yeah, it would look awesome, but because the scale is different. So because you're a little 9-year-old girl, right? So like the gear kit in your hand would look like a huge thing, right, in your head. Yeah, but we still try it. And the other funny thing is we'd have to disable the avatar of the little girl's body. I don't know how many of you like guys like walked around, but the avatar doesn't have a head. Right, and that led to some funny streamer moments. Like there are a bunch of streams where the streamer's like going, and then he like looks around and goes ah! and then starts screaming because it's a headless child.
Actually.
I think it would look brilliant, right? Maybe it would be so weird. That would be
I don't know. Reality check VR is like, let's do it.
Right, awesome. Anna, I've got to thank you ever so much for coming on the PSVR chat show. We're going to have to give it a wrap there, but thank you very much for coming on, and thank you, Rick.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I believe you've got a giveaway going on Twitter. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Don't forget to upload the pizza picture.
Oh, there's pizza? Wow.
We'll get the
picture.
I never see pizza here.
Thank you guys so much.
Pizza, donuts, Game Boy.
You take a pizza from my watch.
Everyone.
Nope.
And if you go into there,
oh, Ricky, hold on. I gotta give you an second. There we go.
I haven't even.
Maybe streaming a little bit later today.
I think we did it now.
I'm not.
Shiny.
I'm not friends with you.
It is shiny.
So to get friends.
On the next PSVR chat show. Take care, everyone.
Absolutely
Are we
amazing.
friends already?
Nice.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. It's been amazing.
Let's
Thank
get a
you.
picture with everybody.
Hi, Russ. Nice to meet you. How do
Oh man!
I have to say you've been on
Thanks very much.
Nice to meet you, Ricky.
Finish. Thank you very much for coming on.
So I'm going to be sending you guys an email about that very shortly.
Yeah. How do I do this?
Thanks, brother.
An email.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
I don't know.
It's so
Thank
good
you.
to try and get it done, but
All these handshaking is amazing.
if you go for it,
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Here we go.
I really want to see that.
Are we friends, right?
Oh, no, hang on.
maybe do that.
No, my hand. There we go.
Nice to meet you. Oh,
There we go.
You're not supposed to do the opposite hands.
Wait,
Alright,
we're playing somewhere, pal. It's been great.
Cool, man.
Oh,
Cool, man.
hey, nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Thanks for that. That was awesome. That was really good.
Thank you. It was great to be here with you guys. Great.
So cool.
Oh, sorry,
We're all going to take a picture of you.
Sorry.
Oh.
Callum, did I do you earlier?
Sorry, again.
There you go.
How you doing?
That was great. That was so cool.
Goes nuts in here.
Preach. Play after.
I will. Eventually, when it arrives. 1 to 3 days.
Want a selfie? Want a selfie?
Nice to
Let's do a selfie. Let's do a selfie.
Where are you at?
The three of us. I'm here. Where are you?
Right. All right, got you guys. 1, 2,
And of course I'm smiling in real life.
All right, I shared that with
We're getting a photo, Jason.
Awesome.
Do we
Print it.
I want to take a picture of every.
It won't let me. My gun's broken. Or my
Your gun's broken.
my camera's broken. It doesn't print.
Group photo.
Great photos.
Yeah, group photo.
Sure, let's do a group picture again.
I'm going to try to get it up here in the corner.
Where we doing the
camera right
Where we doing it?
Bunch up right here. In
He's
this
doing it.
room.
He's doing it.
Right here in this.
Group picture.
Group picture.
I'll kneel in the
Right on
back.
top of the
Wait.
table.
So many people.
If anyone wants to know, I'm trying to see how we can fit everybody here. You can't see the picture. Let's see. The guys on the closer to the door kind of scoot in a little closer to us here.
You guys surfing? Come in a bit.
Hey.
What's going on?
We're just trying to get a group picture with everybody.
Where's the camera?
So many questions. I'm like,
to the right, guys. A little bit to the right. To the right.
You ready, guys? Everybody look towards the camera. 1, 2,
Jim's coming through.
3.
Cheers.
Yeah, can you post
Upload
it on my
it.
Instagram?
Forget this time. Everybody have it. You guys will all have it now.
Well, I
I forgot last time.
by the way.
Thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing this.
It was so good. It was so good.
Amazing.
This is making me order pizza as soon as I leave. What's up, dude?
That was awesome.
Wait. Let me get your pizza for. Oh no, man. I gotta go.
Hey, you should do it. You're thinking of doing a game? No, Unity is like free and you
Just trying to get away so I can talk without annoying everybody. Right, okay, so that was the PSVR chat show. That was pretty awesome. We had so many guys in there, and that was really well answered questions. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. For anybody that's watching, that was Anna Ribeiro from Pixel Ripped and Ricky, and god damn it, I forgot the other guy's name. I really apologize. Where's he at? He's somewhere down there. But that was awesome. The guys did an awesome job on the room as well. The 3 rooms that they made, Jimeth and Livinator and I believe Seraphim was helping as well. So that was excellent. Thank you very much. I'll catch you guys later.